taste your cooking, they're tasting a part of your experience, like your journey is what it sounds like.
They tasting my foot. They tasting that big old black foot right there.
He said, I put my foot in it.
My foot in it, man.
Yeah, I put my foot in it. So you said, I read in an article, you said that you feel like your food can make the world a brighter. Oh, we back to the food. What is that?
Well, we just putting a little bit of olive oil on our grits.
You put, oh, okay. I'm learning today.
Olive oil, hold on.
You're just in time for story time. Inspiring people, inspiring stories from all around the world. Boys and girls, moms and dads, who knows what you'll find. We all have stories, and you're just in time for story time.
Story time for a very special episode.
What's up, Mr. Derrell Smith, and you're just in time for story time. Boom.
I'm eating a little hungry.
I bet. I don't
But
doubt
I'm
you.
not going to eat any of these.
That's what I'm talking about. You got to resist the temptation. How about we put a little bit of salt and pepper in this?
That's instructions.
So
So you can do it.
Okay.
Not too mushy.
Is that good?
Yeah, now
All right.
you need to flat it onto here.
I'm gonna leave it a little chunky for you.
No.
Now you spread
Oh.
it. Just spread it on. All right. So boom. That's good. Okay. So you want to give it like a little antenna?
No, that's a tail.
Not an antenna, a tail.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Just in Time for Story Time, one of the very first talk shows for kids by kids. I'm your host, Justin Stephen Ford, author of the brand new diverse picture book back there, I See Me. And here at Just in Time for Story Time, we are exposing kids to everything, opening up their minds, whether it be food, music, culture from all around the world, from kids that look just like them. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so that they can stay updated with all of the kids sharing all of their inspiring stories. Now today is a little different because as much as we love talking to kids, we also love adults that are doing amazing things as well for them to look up to, whether it be chefs, football players, scientists, mathematicians, and our guest today is no different. So without further ado, you are just in time for story time. All right. So today's guest is a chef. I'm already excited. I can see him cooking down there. And he's going to expose us to his journey, his passion for football, as well as his passion for cooking and food. And he's also going to show us a little bit of what he's cooking this morning. Okay, so today, for the very first time, we're diving into the inspiring world of food with celebrity chef Derrell Smith. Derrell played football for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Houston Texans, but had to stop playing due to an unexpected neck injury. Instead of letting the setback define him, Derrell took a bold step towards something completely different: cooking. Derrell's story is a testament of the power of resilience and the importance of education and the courage to embrace the unknown. From football to food, he's using his passion to make the world a bit brighter, one meatball at a time. He is the host of his very own cooking show called Mad Good Food on Tastemade, and has worked with some of the biggest names, including Netflix, Disney, Amazon, Subway, and now, just in time for story time, please give it up for my friend, Chef Derrell Smith. What's up? How's it going?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Thank you so much for taking out the time. How we feeling this morning? We in the kitchen already, right?
What's up, man? I'm good. I got bacon flying up in my face, so I'm in a great mood. How you doing?
Well, listen, I can smell it through the screen. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show. Like I said, football to food. We're going to talk about it all today. But before that, what are you cooking this morning?
We got some bacon. We got some grits. I'm going to make an over easy egg. Look at that. Doesn't that look good?
That look good.
The grits, we about to put those on. I'll walk y'all through the grits because I make world famous grits. So
Okay. Perfect. One frame of grits. Well, as you begin to cook, let's ask some questions. You're gonna show some food. This is gonna be great. So you were accepted a full athletic scholarship to Syracuse University, excelling in both on and off the field. So why was education so important for you growing up?
You know, my parents instilled it in me when I was a kid. I don't know, like I always just been somebody who enjoyed reading books, somebody who just liked to dive into storytelling as a kid. And I remember like my mom would put me on my mom and stepmom would put me on punishment sometimes, and I would enjoy it because I would just read books.
Okay.
And at the same time, like they would make me stay up late to do homework. They moved us out of Philly when I was in 7th grade to get us to Delaware to get better education, better just overall life. Mm-hmm. And so I've always been someone who never took that for granted, and who's always looked at education as something that can't be taken away from me. Mm-hmm. And practicing education and practicing like reading books and just writing and doing all of these things, I'll just learn to love it. And because of that, like I just consider myself a lifelong student of X. Whatever that X is, I'm a lifelong student of it. And that's going from football, that's going from academia, that's going from advertising, and now it's food. So I'm just always learning new things and taking what I did as a kid and like that curiosity and imagination into everything I do.
Absolutely, man. I love that. Okay, so you got your education. For 2010, you played professional football for the NFL, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and for the Houston Texans. How was that experience?
You know, it was cool. It's everything in life is perspective, right? So when you grow up and you look at people in the NFL, you kind of see these people as larger than life. Yeah. And that's the same for everybody. I don't care who you are. Like when you see these people on TV, it's something different about it. And it's for most football players, I wouldn't say all, but most football players, that's something you aspire to be. Right. And aspire to be on that type of stage. Mm-hmm. And whether it's football, whether it's whatever profession you're in, when you get the opportunity to work with the best of the best and whatever that craft is, that's something that's life-changing, because you get to see how other people approach professionalism. You get to see how other people approach their process, their rituals, their whatever that goes into this craft. Mm-hmm. And when it all comes together, just like preparation and then also the highest level that you're preparing for, it was a life-changing experience for me. And for me, like, it was short-lived because, like you said, I injured my neck prematurely, but the experience and the just the wisdom and the work ethic that I was able to basically take from the game, especially at the professional level, is something that I'll always use. And meanwhile, let me show you something, because we got that bacon nice and crispy. Okay, I'm gonna crisp it up a little more. Yeah. And we're gonna put that milk into the grits. Okay. But yeah. Is that water boiling? Yeah, we got water boiling, and now I'm gonna add a little bit of milk to it. Okay. And all that's gonna do is, I've never seen that. You put milk into the water. Oh yeah. So the thing with cooking, right? Yeah, is that the final dish and the final project is almost like football. Like, you don't really see the steps that go into it beforehand, but when you get that final product, it's like, oh wow, like this took some time. Yeah. And so for me, when I approach food, I approach it with that same mentality and that same just curiosity. And when you add something like milk, right? You add milk to the water before you do anything. What that does is it heats up the milk. So you're going to bring out a little bit of sweetness, right? And it's going to change the flavor of the food that you add versus adding it to the grits when it's in there. Okay. So what's happening, right? So I add the milk to the grits. It's starting to bubble. And what that's doing, that's releasing some of that sweetness that I want in my grits, because I don't like sugar in my grits. Some people like sugar in their grits. Oh, and butter. I'm butter, my guy. Yeah. Yeah, not one of those people. However, if we could add a little bit of that natural sweetness in it,
Okay.
I'm all for it. So right now it's just a little bit of water, a little bit of milk, and then a little bit of salt, and then grits is going in right now as we talk.
Okay. All right. We'll check back in on the grits, but you mentioned an unexpected injury. Now, you had to retire early from your professional football career, but the beautiful thing is you didn't let that define you. Instead, you kind of were inspired to do something else, one of your other passions, cooking. How was that whole time in your life when one thing is ending and a new thing is beginning?
That's life. Like it's that's exactly what it is. That's the definition of life. And so for me, it was just another opportunity to seek greatness or seek the highest level in whatever my craft was. So I played football my whole entire life, and I reached the pinnacle of it. I got to the highest level of it, and I was like, oh, that was cool.
Yeah.
Now what is the next thing that I could kind of reach the highest level of? And so literally I remember the day after I was let go from the Texans, I was in Houston, and when you get let go in the NFL, they basically just call you on the phone and say, hey, just come to the office, bring your playbook. And that's all they tell you. Okay. And literally that same night, they'll fly you out. And so instead of flying home, my family lived in Delaware at this time. Instead of flying home, I just flew back to Syracuse and literally enrolled in classes that Monday. So I was let go maybe that like Tuesday or Wednesday. Flew back to Syracuse, and I was back in grad school by that Monday. And I was just like, you know what? Like, I'm just gonna focus on this, because I know at this point, like my neck, if I continue to play this game, I'm not gonna be able to move my neck in the future. So I made it to the NFL. I put my all into it. And when it was time to go, I had no regrets because of the way I approached it. Yeah. And on that note, I made the right decision putting that milk in them grits. Because look at them bubble.
Oh, it's thick.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
It's getting thick. So, I mean, you said something for our young viewers watching, how you might start one thing and entering it with confidence. You know, entering it. What's that smell? Hold up. What's that smell like?
Well, it don't smell like much yet. Still smell like grits, but in a couple minutes, it's gonna start smelling like deliciousness.
But you got the bacon sizzling in the background, you know, the grits. It reminds me of growing up, like our little family breakfast that we used to have. And so what we used to do growing up, we would take our bowl of grits, break the bacon up in there, put the eggs in there, all in one little bowl, and just go to town, you know. But
this gonna be the only plate I use today, so you're on the right track.
Right there. The grit bowl. But I appreciate what you were saying, man, about sticking to it, having that positive mindset, trying new things, even though, like you said, marketing or becoming a chef was completely foreign to you. You did it with confidence, and you didn't let that stop you. Like you said, the next day we enrolled in classes, so I think that's great. When did you first discover your love for food?
The women in my family. So I own a catering company called 99 Eats, and this is our logo right here.
Is that grandma?
Yep, that's grandma.
Nice.
So the idea is whenever you eat my food or experience my brand, it feels like you just left grandma's table. And I would say that the women in my family are the people who inspire me to cook. They're the one who, they basically bought me in the kitchen. My mom, my grandma, my just family members, they would bring me in the kitchen, and my role was to lick the cake bowl or clean up dishes. And I just grew to love it. Fast forward, when I'm in college, as an athlete, you really don't get the opportunity to go home much. And so sometimes I would cook for teammates. I would cook for just people up at the university, so that one, it was practicing skills, but then two, it was just another outlet for me to express my creativity and imagination. So with food, it's the same exact thing. Like I said, I'll put my milk and my grits up in the beginning. Some people might do it later. Some people might just only use cream, and that's their whole prerogative, and that's the way they express themselves through their food. And so for me, it was like, as a young kid, I was able to watch my mom make cakes or watch my cousin Lil make her greens and taste the end product. And then what I was also able to do was to see the work that went into it and kind of like the steps that they took to get to it. And it was always different. Like it wasn't always the same. And I was like, damn, like this is from a young age, I understood that this was a way of expression. And this was a way for when I taste Cousin Lil greens, I taste her in it. If I taste my mom's cake, I could taste my mom in that cake. And there's no different with food. Like I started practicing that skill until I was able to kind of transfer that spirit and that myself into that dish. And I would say from a young age, man, you said what?
So when people taste your cooking, they're tasting a part of your experience, like your journey is what it sounds like.
They tasting my foot. They tasting that big old black foot right there.
He said, I put my foot in it.
My foot in it, man.
Yeah, I put my foot in it. So you said, I read in an article, you said that you feel like your food can make the world a brighter. Oh, we back to the food. What is that?
Well, we just putting a little bit of olive oil on our grits.
You put okay. I'm learning today.
Olive oil. Hold on. Let me show you something else. I got the black pepper right here. I'm gonna crack some of that while we talk because I can't hold it in crack. But yeah,
we got water. We got milk. We got a little salt, pepper, olive oil.
That's it. That's all you need. And then thyme. Thyme is your best friend when it comes to grits. Today, usually. Sometimes I'll put cheese in my grits, but I'm not going to put cheese in it today just because, I don't know, my grandma and my mom don't put cheese in their grits all the time. So as an homage to them, for this segment only, we going to get that same effect by just using thyme. And thyme only.
And that's a good lesson because time for everything makes things perfect. Just time. Time.
And patience.
Yeah. Patient. So you said in a quote somewhere that you feel like food, how's that taste?
Like this? Just like that.
So you said somewhere that you feel like food can make the world a brighter place. How can food make the world a brighter place, man?
You know, I think that food has the ability to make people shut up and listen. And just be still and to share a moment with each other. And so I forget the question there. That was the we're on the right track, right? I'm still on the right track.
No, I think that's perfect. I'm glad you took us down that road because it lets us know insight into you and your confidence. And is it getting there?
I got confidence in these grits too. Now, so when you get to this point, let me show you these. See how creamy those are, right?
Yeah.
Creamy. Now you adjust the flavors because what I've done, we had the milk, we had the water that created that nice little sauce that we poured our grits into. Grits have absorbed that cream from the milk, so we get the creaminess. That water puff up, poof, salt, pepper, and now we're just gonna add a little bit more salt, not much, because we put salt in the very beginning. Salt. And last but not least, a little bit of butter, just a little knob of butter.
Okay.
At the very end.
A knob.
At the very, very end. And that's the flavor. No cheese, nothing. It's just time where we allowed it to cook down. And then we put that butter in there and we just going to stir that in. And it's going to make it oh so delicious.
Also delicious, man. Yep. Also delicious.
Amen.
Also delicious. Any advice for a kid watching who's nervous to try something new or has fear? Like you said, you've tried so many new things that you had no clue on how to start and you became really successful. So any advice for those kids who might want to try something new but are scared?
Future. And I would say, like, to get over fear, it's exactly that. Like, you have to practice it. It's not like when you play football, you can't just go on a field and expect to be great at anything because it's so many unknowns. But when you practice and you're prepared, that's the key to it all. And so I would say, if you have fear, find ways to practice and find ways to like force yourself to practice it. Very easy lifts. Like, it ain't got to be something where you do it in front of people. You could practice for yourself because when you practice that much, once those lights come on, you prepared. So whenever it comes to fear, find ways to make yourself practice, and I guarantee that you'll start to build your confidence, and your product will be to a point where when it's your time, you'll be able to put that practice into action.
Beautiful advice. Lean into the fear, essentially. Lean into
it. And practice. Like find ways to be comfortable in that uncomfortable moment. And I guarantee that you'll get out of it, and you'll thank yourself for the effort and time you put into it before the lights came on.
I love that, man. I have one game we're about to play, but before we play this final game, how's the food looking? What are we doing over there?
All right, let me I'm gonna show you what I did.
Okay.
Right now we just got the grits here.
Okay.
We got the bacon here.
Okay.
All I'm gonna do.
There we go.
All I'm gonna do now is just make myself an over easy egg.
Okay.
I like that nice yellow yolk all over it.
Okay. Now, what is an over easy egg? That's when it's not scrambled, it's not boiled, it's runny.
Yeah. So all you do is just cook it on one side. That's all the over easy egg is. We're gonna take an egg and we just gonna cook it on one side so that the yolk stays runny.
Okay, got you. All right.
I'll show y'all.
Okay, perfect. Well, listen, now it's time for the show called Rapid Random Questions, man, where we ask you a bunch of random questions, and it's your job to give us the first thing that comes to your mind. Are you down to play?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, guys. Welcome to Rapid Random Questions Food Edition. Food and Football Edition at that. All right, you ready, my friend?
Yep.
Let's do it. One ingredient you can't live without.
Smoked paprika.
Smoked paprika. First dish you ever mastered.
Meatballs.
Wildest food you've ever tasted.
Sea urchin. Uni.
Okay. Salty, I imagine. Your go-to comfort food.
Cereal. Big, like 3 bowls, maybe a box, all at once.
Hey, favorite cereal though?
You know, I go in between. I like it's a hood cereal called Cocoa Dino Bites. it's like a generic brand of
Cocoa Puffs.
Pebbles. I love it though.
That's awesome. Okay, the dish that reminds you most of home.
Macaroni and cheese.
Okay. One skill every chef should know.
How to clean your cast iron.
Okay, that's important. That's a skillet. Yep. You could cook a meal for the rest of your life. What would that one meal be?
I'll say meatballs because I know they're always going to be delicious.
Okay, all right, good. Pancakes or waffles for breakfast?
Pancakes.
Easy. What superhero power would you want in the kitchen?
Octopus arms.
Octopus arms. Can we see that egg that you just cracked? I can hear it.
I got you. Hold on. Here it comes. Bam.
Look at it. Oh, that looks good. Now, do you season that with like salt, pepper, or anything? Or
so I put a little Maldon salt on the top.
Okay.
Maldon salt, finishing salt.
Okay. Yeah.
And a little cracked black pepper from all the way up here. That's it.
Awesome. Okay, back to the game. Would you rather play football in the rain or cook in a really hot kitchen?
Well, you said what? Play football where?
Would you rather play football in the rain or cook in a really hot kitchen?
Well, if I'm 20 years old, I'd rather play football in the rain. That's football weather.
Okay. All right. The coolest thing about being a chef.
It's so many unexpected things that you get to do, like cooking for celebrities or and seeing the people's faces when you feed them. So that part, I love that.
That's the part. This is an odd question. What's the funniest fruit or vegetable?
Funniest? Kiwi. Like it feels like you kiss your grandpapa on the cheek, but then you bite into it and it's delicious.
And that's a great example, actually. Wow. Yeah. If you could make a sandwich fly, where would you send it?
To Jamaica, and hopefully I could fit on the back.
That's right. Do you dance when you cook?
Absolutely.
Okay. What's your go-to dance move when you cook it, man?
Right here. Let me show this to you. You see these hips? Stop. Just like that.
You see these hips? All right. Would you rather cook for a giant or 100 tiny people?
100 tiny people.
Okay. And lastly, if you could invent a new fruit, what would it taste like?
First thing that came to mind was like a mango pineapple. Like if you could take that sweetness and then mix it with that acidity.
Yeah.
And then I would do this to it. I would take a little torch, and just like these eggs, I would go around it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my trick to an over easy. Watch that.
Oh, and what does that do? That like firms it up a little bit?
Well, yeah. What it's gonna do is, so whenever you get a over easy egg, sometimes if they don't do it right, you'll get that slimy white stuff on the sides. So what this does, one, is I've already turned the heat off on the bottom, so I'm not going to have an overcooked egg. And then the top, I get to kind of close it up and still keep it runny, but give you the effect as if you flipped it over without having to flip it over. That's a little trick to y'all kids.
Okay, nice. Okay, a trick to kids, but also I want to try it too. So, so then I take it the last step is assembly.
Yep, I'm about to do it now. I'm gonna show y'all the finished product.
Okay. So he's assembling. All right. So then, as he assembles, or as you assemble the food, the very, very last question is one piece of advice you would give in general to kids watching. You've been through so many cool things in your life, obstacles and adversities that you've overcome. With everything that you've been through, what's that one piece of advice that you would give to a kid watching?
Don't be afraid to do what you want to do, and make that your practice. Practice doing the things that you want to do without any fear or any fear of judgment, without any fear of lack of funds. I would literally say, like, when you get to that point and you feel something in your spirit that's supposed to move you, allow it to move you regardless of your circumstance. Because you never know what what doors it'll open and where it'll take you. So I would say, just don't be afraid to do exactly what you want to do.
I agree, man. And I feel like through your story, because you've always kind of followed that and led with your passion, things work out. Even if you didn't know what was going to happen or how you were going to do it, what was inside of you and it worked out.
No, that's the truth. Meanwhile,
final product. Go back.
Oh, let me get a little spoon so I can show you how I dig into it too.
Okay.
Here, just watch this. Boink, 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 boink. That's it, man.
Egg break. Now, do you do grits, egg, and bacon all in the same bite, or are you eat one thing at a time?
No, I try to get all of it in the same bite, especially at that very last bite. I always make sure I got a little bit of each piece. Okay. So I can fit it all into my mouth at once. So yeah, that's my thing, man.
Got it. Awesome, man. Awesome. Chef Derrell Smith, thank you so much, man, for coming to Just in Time for Story Time. Will you come back to us?
Man, no doubt, man. I appreciate you having me.
And something else, awesome. Let everybody know where they can find you, man, because we're gonna let you go eat. But let everyone know where they can find you.
On Instagram, mostly Relly Crocker, RELLY CROCKER. I have a show on Taste Made called Mad Good Food.
I'm former NFL player turned chef Derrell Smith, and I'm on a mission to spread love through food, giving a fresh new twist on home-cooked meals. It's all mad good food.
What I'm gonna do is take this meat off the bone, and now take that steak and we just cut it. Just gonna cut it right down there. Oh, I'm gonna tear you up. Let's get this on a plate, present it just like this. And now, take this beautiful peppercorn gravy, and we just pour it right over the top of our steak. Oh, yeah. Now I'm gonna plate up a meal because I'm starving. We got our steak, we got our frites, and we have that beautiful wedge salad. That thing look good, don't it? Get some of that salad. Oh, yeah.
Today, I hope that you learned not only how to make a delicious meal, but also how to just give yourself some self-love and give yourself grace. You don't have to go out to a steakhouse to get a delicious meal. And you don't have to go to any restaurant to get a delicious meal.
So it's on Tastemade, but it's also on streamers. So you could just Google Mad Good Food and you'll see wherever it is. And if you have that subscription, make sure you watch it. It's 3 seasons. And then, those 2 channels. If you look at those, you'll see me.
Awesome. Sidebar, Mad Good Food is one of my favorite shows to watch. I've learned so many good things. And when we talk about representation, it was so cool to see someone that looks similar to me doing things that I like to do. And that's so important. So I just want to thank you for being that representation and being such a positive light in this world, man. And I'm glad that you came on the show, and you're a friend in my head at this point.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Absolutely. And we look like cousins because we both got that baldy. So I'm glad I get to represent the bald folks in this world.
That's it. How old were you when you started losing your hair?
Like 22, man. And I was like, but good thing I got a baldy because I got the head for a baldy. You too. We both got bald heads. So shout out to us.
This has been another episode of Just in Time for Storytime. Make sure you check out my friend Chef Derrell Smith, Mad Good Food. Also, Relly Crocker on Instagram. All of that is below in the description box. Anything else you want to say, man?
Don't stop. Just keep doing. Just keep going. All right.
Keep going.
Don't stop.
Keep going. Well, until next time, this has been another episode of Just in Time for Storytime. See y'all next time, y'all.
Bye bye.
Like a book, so take a look. Who knows what you'll find just in time
For story time.